Hello and welcome to my channel. So today I'll be showing you how to make this popcorn stitch granny square, and we'll be making this bag. So let's get started. So you want to start off with a magic ring and or a chain of 4 slip stitching to the first stitch. And into that magic ring we are going to make a half double crochet, 2, half double crochet, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We're going to slip stitch to the first half double crochet of the round, and we're going to bring in our new color here. So you can cut and tie in your ends and just add in a new color, but I'm just going to go straight from here. So I'm going to feed in my new color, pull that slip stitch tight, and into that same stitch right here, into that first double crochet we slip stitched into, I am going to go in, making sure I crochet over my tails, just like this. I'm going to make a stacked single crochet. So please feel free to make a chain of 3 if that's what you like to do. I made 1 stacked single crochet, which counts as a double crochet. Then I'm going to place 1, 2, 3, and 4 more double crochets into the same exact stitch, all in 1 stitch. So in total we have 5. I'm going to pull up that loop to my last double crochet, go into my first stacked single crochet, which acted as a double crochet, and then I'm going to wrap that loop around my hook and pull through that first stacked single crochet, pull up a loop, pull tight, chain 2, and move on to the next stitch. So that next stitch is pulled a little tight just because you put so many double crochets into the previous stitch. So you want to make sure that you're going into the right stitch, not skipping one. So then we're going to make another set of 5 double crochets. Okay. Very simple. And after we finish that 5th double crochet, we're going to pull up a loop. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go into that first double crochet, reattach our loop, pull that through, make a chain, pull tight, and chain 2. So again, we're going to scoot those stitches over and find the right half double crochet that we did from the previous row and go in with our 5 double crochets. And after that 5th double crochet, here we go, count that out again, pull up a loop, go into that first double crochet, pull that loop through, pull tight, chain 2, and this is the beginning of our popcorn. So we're going to continue that all the way around, and I'll meet you at our last one. So here I want to show you that you do not go into that slip stitch there. You want to go into the half double crochet from the previous row, not into the slip stitch. So we did 8 in the previous row, so you should have 8 petals, okay? 8 sets of 5 double crochet. we're just completing this last petal. Chain 1, still chain that 2. And then from here, we are going to slip stitch right into that very first chain when we joined the 5th double crochet to the first double crochet. So it is a little tight because I pulled tight. So you want to get in there, make that slip stitch, pull tight, and cut. Okay, and here's what our flower looks like. So if you just want to keep the flower, this is exactly how you do that. It's very simple, very cute, and it pops out really nice. And that's it. Okay, so now we're going to move on to creating the granny square. So in the next petal, I'm going to insert my hook, and that's what the hook is for, you guys. Sometimes my stitches are tight, so I use the hook part to go in and get under them stitches, okay? Very simple. So once I'm under the connecting chain, I will call it, from making that double crochet from the first to the last, or from the last to the first, I pull through here. Then into the chain 2 space, I slip stitch over and make a slip stitch. Okay? So you can join accordingly. You do not have to join this way. So from here, I am going to start with a stacked single crochet. Okay, you guys, that's how I always start now, but you can also start with a chain of 3. And then from here, we're going to go in with 2 more double crochets. Okay, then we're going to chain 2 and make 3 more double crochets. Now, skipping over to the next chain 2 space, we're going to make 3 double crochets. Okay, skipping over to the next chain 2 space, we're going to make another granny square cluster. So we're going to make 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. Okay, and from here the pattern repeats itself. We're going to do 3 double crochets, no chains in between this, guys. Okay, so from here we're going to continue that all the way around. We're going to do a corner, 3 double crochets, a corner, 3 double crochets, just as you would do in a normal granny square, making sure that you end with 3 double crochets. Okay, the only chain spaces we have are in between the corners. There are no chain spaces along the way. Okay, so for me personally, I am going to slip stitch over to my chain 2 space. Okay, and this is what it looks like after the first round of making the granny square. You see, that flower is popping out really nice, and that's what we're going for. So from here, you guys already know I'm starting with my stacked single crochet, but you can also chain 3. And then I'm going to make 2 more double crochets, going in with my chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets. So from here, it is just a normal granny square. Every corner gets a corner, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and in between each chain, there's no chain 1 space, but in between each open gap between the 3 double crochets, we're going to put 3 double crochets. So it just follows a normal granny square without the confusion of these words that I'm saying. First row have 1 set of 3 double crochets. The second row will have 2. So you just keep that going just like a normal granny square. And we're going to continue that all the way around until we get to the end. And I'll meet you back once we're there. Okay, just finishing up my second round, and this is what it looks like. So really cute, really simple, really nice. And you continue that as many rounds as you would like for as big as this granny square that you will want to have. Mine's, I did 3 rounds total, so I just did one more round. And it measures about 4 inches, 16.5-ish centimeters. So it's just a little bit over 4 inches for me. And that's what we have. So very cute, very simple, very nice. Make this as big or as small as you like. Now on to the assembly part for popcorn stitch granny squares. Okay, so we're going to lay them something like this. Make sure that your ends are up. We're going to connect here, here, and here, and also right here. Okay, I'm going to use my tapestry needle. I'm going to take 2 of my granny squares, have the right side facing each other, and then I'm going to go in starting with the second chain from my chain 2. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're starting in the second chain because we do have to connect this in several ways. So for me personally, I'm starting in the second chain. So right before my double crochet cluster or my granny cluster, I am going in to the previous stitch before that. And then from here, it's very simple. You're just pretty much going to match each double crochet to double crochet, each stitch to each stitch. I did want to show you here. You want to make sure that you go into this double crochet stitch here where we slip stitch into and not the slip stitch. Okay, so don't get confused on that part. Do not do an extra slip stitch. You can if you like, but it is not necessary because it's a slip stitch space, not an actual stitch space. Okay, so again, we're going to continue this all the way down, and then I will meet you back at my last join. Okay, so going into the next chain stitch, we did the same on both sides, just going into one. So now you want to do the same thing on the other side. So now you're going to lay them something like this. Right sides facing together. And we're simply going to sew here, there, and up there. That's it. You want to leave one side open because that's where you're going to insert everything at. Doing the same exact method as we just did in this last bit that I showed you. Very simple, very easy. You just want to make sure that you match every stitch to every stitch. So we're going to continue this all the way down, and I'll show you how I connect the middle pieces right here, okay? So now that we're here, so when I told you that we left one of those stitches free, this is it. So as you see, we have one chain space. This is the last double crochets that we're going into. And then we have that one right there, if you can see it, chain space open. So we're going to go into those and also on the other side. So this is why we left that one open, so we can join it pretty seamlessly down on this side. And then we're going to do the same on the opposite side, making sure you pull that tight, okay? Not too tight to where it's going to bunch up, but you want to pull it taut, okay? Okay, so now from here, I am still going to go into that second chain space, okay? So it's just like a double security, extra extra protection or something for me. personally, but you can skip over it. So I'm going to go under both the chain 1 and 2 space, okay? Both of the chains in the chain 2 space on this um on this side. On all sides, but on this part. And again, going under the free chain space here, or chain. Making sure you go under 2 loops. Please don't forget that, guys. It's a lot more sturdier, and it looks a lot better to go under the 2. For me personally, but you do what you please. And then continuing to match each one down, making sure you pull that tight, but not too tight, because you don't want it to have a weird bunch in the middle right there, unless you like that look. Okay, so I'm pulling tight, pulled a little tight, so I'm kind of stretching it out, making sure the whip stitching is flat, so you can see it here. This is what it looks like. So again, you join accordingly to how you like it. I thought this looked fine, and so this is why I left it that way. Closing all 4 corners, and then you're going to continue that all the way down and around, making sure you go into each stitch, okay? And do the same on the opposite side that we just did here. So I decided to make sure I showed you the bottom corners. It's nothing specific, just to make sure it's like this, pretty rounded. Everything is closed and it gives it a nice corner. And so here, making sure I match each chain to each chain. Going under 2 loops, it could be a little tedious, especially if you're a tight crocheter like me, but it's possible. Just make sure you get in there. It's not the end of the world. It's okay. Okay, and after we make it under both of the chain spaces, I'm just going to go through the next double crochet and the next one and the next one, just so I can have a little bit more space to be able to show you guys. See, I pulled tight but not too tight, making sure I got that corner nice and rounded, just like this. Okay, just to show you, this is what it looked like from the outside. So it joins together pretty nicely. Nothing fancy, all simple. You want to continue that all the way up, and I'll meet you back at the end. So now here, just as we joined in the beginning, we're going to go under that very first chain space right next to our cluster. And we're going to go into the next. See here, so I'm going to go back in and go up to match what I did on this side. So I'm going to go up one more into the second chain space on the other side, okay guys? That's what I was saying here, just making sure I join up there, just so it can have a more rounded and even look. So after this, you want to make sure you cut your ends, and this is pretty much it, guys. So just wanted to show you what it's looking like. This is how I do it. I just put my hand in, pop it in, pull it out. And there you have it. I did some shaping. But this is why I was saying do not pull too tight, because it will bunch in right there on the sides, and I just thought that looked a little off. So I just made sure I kind of stretched my stitches as much as I could, because again, I'm just a tight crocheter. I'm a tight joiner. I'm a tight weaver and inner. I don't know. I'm a tight person. So this is what it looks like. Okay, so now we're going to work on this part. So very simple. I am going to join here my last double crochet. Okay, so not the chain space, the last double crochet next to the chain space. So join accordingly to how you feel and as you see fit. Okay, so I just joined with a slip stitch, going back into that same space with a single crochet. You can also tie this on, do what you feel. Okay, do what you feel. I'm going to place one single crochet into every stitch and around every chain space. Okay, not going in between the stitches. Okay, I'll meet you back at this first corner join. So here I'm finishing up my last single crochet. So now we have these two corners. Okay, we are going to do a decrease here to make it a more rounded top instead of having two extra single crochets. You can do as you feel. If you want to do two here, one in one, that's absolutely fine. But I'm just going to go in here, go into the next, have 3 loops on my hook, and pull through all 3. And I'm going to continue those single crochets all the way until I get to the other side, and then I'll meet you back at the next corner. Here's the corners. This is why I did not start in the chain space. I started in the I started in the double crochet. Okay, do my join here, and then I'm going to simply slip stitch to the first single crochet of the round. If I can get in there. Okay, nothing fancy. And pull up a loop. I'm just checking it out. That looks good to me. I don't need any more rounds. If you want to continue to make a nice border, feel free and do as you please. Okay, so from here I'm going to chain 1, pull up a loop, and cut my yarn. Okay, making sure I pulled that down tightly and securely, and this is what it looks like. I thought it gave it a nice clean edge, and that was fine for me. So here, now we're going to add in the strap. So we're not going to do a strap and add it on. I'm going to make the strap and continue it around and connect the strap to the other side. Okay, so I tie it on and I made 1 single crochet. Here's my second. Into that decrease single crochet, here's my third. Into my very first single crochet, it's my fourth. I'm going to go over one more, which makes my 5th single crochet. Without chaining, I'm going to turn my work, go back into that same single crochet. That's my first. We're going to continue this until you reach the length of your strap, okay? Back and forth. Do my 5 double crochets, and you can also make this as thick or as thin as you like, okay? You don't have to necessarily do 5. I wanted a thicker strap, not something super thin. So this is what it's looking like. And I wanted, yeah, that's just how I wanted it to look. So feel free to do as you please and whatever you find comfortable. Back and forth for as many rows as you need to do. And just keep going. So I'm back and my strap ended up being about 31 inches. So you can make this longer, you can make it shorter. So you want to make sure that your strap is facing the right way. So follow that all the way around. Then I'm going to turn my bag inside out. And this is so that the seam is going to be on the inside, not the outside. So if you do crochet it with the bag right side out, the seam will show on the outside. So from my decrease, I'm going to count over 2 stitches. Okay, so 1, 2, into that space, making sure that my working yarn is to the outside of my hook. If you realize, I'm going to lay it flat and pull through. Okay, join with the slip stitch into that same space and in the same single crochet that we just came from, where we just finished and pulled our working yarn. I'm going to go into that stitch with a single crochet into the next stitch, and these should match up accordingly to the next one. As you see, I am holding that strap flat, going into the same sides. Okay, do not twist it, do not turn it. Make sure that it's faced the same way during the whole joining process. And 5. It should match evenly to how you joined on the other side. And after that 5th single crochet, I'm going to chain 1, pull up a loop, and before I cut, I'm going to check. So I'm going to turn it right side out and make sure that my seam is on the inside, making sure that it looks as good as it does in the joining side or in the starting side, and that looked pretty good to me. So and pretty much that's it. You want to make sure that you cut your yarn, weave in all your ends, making sure everything is the right length before you do all of that. Try it on, try it up against your body, just making sure that everything is all right. And then I have to do a little test, making sure everything fits in here. Very simple, nothing fancy. Just making sure everything slips down in there. Full water bottle, square bottle, I even tried my mini hydro flask. Didn't take much maneuvering to get in there, but once it got in there, it was in there. So you can make more squares to fit a bigger one, make the squares bigger to fit a bigger one. That's pretty much it. Pretty simple. Please, if you do make this, let me know how it turned out for you. Let me know if you liked it. Leave your comments down below if this was okay for you. And I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video. If you can, please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time. Audio Jungle.